Well, hello there. It's been a while. Some of you may not even remember this, but we did do a Rank Your Albums #2 about a month ago. Yeah, I've been kind of slow, but I hammered out the last few over this last week, and it's finally time to talk about 28 albums. Oh my god, there's so many. There's actually 30, but I will not be counting 2 of them. We'll get to those later on. But yeah, it's a lot of albums. Definitely gonna limit them, I think, for the remainder of the series. But for now, yeah, let's get right into it, man. We got a doozy here. And you know, just like I mentioned in the first video, these are all albums you guys gave me, and just because I don't like some of your albums doesn't make you any less beautiful. Okay, because these first these bottom 3 I kind of really hated, but that's just the way it goes. But yeah, bro, let's hop right in. Your album is ranked number 2, starting with number 28. So up first, we have Flowers of Romance by Public Image Limited by Tom Versal. Well, he says, this wasn't my first choice, but I think I'm going to have to go with it, that album. I'm just interested in what you have to say on the album. It's one of my favorites, one of my favorite bands, and it's quite different from a lot of other music. Boy, I'll say. Oh, boy. Yes, it was very different. It started pretty rough, and then it just kind of stayed being rough the whole time. Honestly, I don't really see anything here besides noise. Occasionally it gets cool with like Under the House and Banging the Door, but yeah, it's definitely not for me. I think this was the album from the Sex Pistols guy, but this is like a different band, and it's just, I don't know, man. Maybe I don't have enough context to what's going on here, you know, from an outsider's perspective. But yeah, I did not like this one at all. I'm sorry. Up next, we have In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel. Now, bro, I was very kind of excited to hear this album because I've seen that artwork so many times that I've never known what it was from, and it's from this. So I was very curious finally getting to hear this album with this cover. And once again, I really, really didn't like it. So it comes from Giorgos S4. Yes, thank you for giving me your other name. It's very... You do not want to see me try to pronounce that. This time, I'd really like to hear your thought on that album. Kind of weird album, but it's one of my favorites, and it definitely a must-hear. Another one of their favorites, but another one of my least favorites. Oh, no. I gotta be honest. The thing that put it down this far is the vocals. It really killed it. He doesn't sound great, okay? Especially when he goes higher up, like in the middle or so area of O Kamali. And apparently the production was bad on purpose. I don't understand why. I mean, black metal does that, and it sounds like shit. This also kind of sounds bad. It's the production and the vocals that just really, it kind of pains me to listen to this album. So that's pretty much why I also don't like this one. And now we have Infinite Annihilator with I'm Not Even Gonna Try. We'll call it Egg. So Egg was, fun fact, the last album I listened to for this video, because I kind of had a feeling I wasn't going to like it, and yeah, definitely don't. But it comes from Alvaro Vasquez. I like this album because it is incredible. I'm not a fan of deathcore, but this album is undoubtedly one of my favorites. It is an unforgettable experience. I just feel bad. Everyone's giving me their favorites, and I don't like them. But like I said, you're still beautiful. Yeah, deathcore. I also really don't like deathcore. And I figured it wasn't going to change because I got to be honest, man, the vocals... There's construction on our building that's been going on for a week now, and it's still not over. So, excuse the drills and the hammering. But yeah, I can't do this. I can't do this, man. The vocals are just so brutal. It's actually kind of comical. Just like you can't understand a word. I don't. People say that a lot about, like, you know, metal in general. Like, oh, you can't understand the words. But this one, it's just gurgling, you know? So it's really... Don't even tell me you can understand them without actually looking at the lyrics. I can't distinguish any of the songs. But that witch sample was pretty sick. What was that track? It was track 3, I believe. The one before... What is it? Baptized, Bastardized, and Sodomized. Oh boy. Yeah, what a song title. Yeah, Motherless Miscarriage. That whole track was just the kid from The Witch doing his speech before he dies. Great movie. I actually just watched it like a week ago. But that was cool. That was kind of cool. But other than that, no, I can't do this. Deathcore, just no, not for me. Okay, and this one comes from Zeb, Z-E-B, the Flaming Lips Zaireeka, I believe it's called. Okay, so if you don't know what this album is, basically it came on 4 discs, and each of the discs has like a different like harmony. So depending on how many you play together, it'll sound different. I heard a version with all 4 at once. I just figured, but it's kind of a like A+ for creativity, I suppose. And that 4-disc thing really didn't work for someone. I saw a review. Someone gave this a 0 out of 10, only for the fact that you have to play all 4 discs. Which I think, who the hell let that guy like be a professional critic? Are you serious? Quit being a baby. You can still listen to 1 disc and like you'll still like it's the same thing. It's just different like pitches or whatever. So that's kind of cool. You know, I imagine, you know, back in the day, getting, you know, 4 friends together. Y'all bring your CD players, play them all at the same time. I think that'd be kind of cool. But as is, I don't know. It's basically all just like atmospheric, experimental music that never really holds my attention. Yeah, but I'm good on this one. I don't hate it. The last 3 I hated. This one I don't. I just kind of don't really like it. A little better, but not quite. Next up from I Don't Know What My Name Should Be. Boy, haven't we all been there. You know how long I was sitting trying to think of what my channel should be called? But I regret it hardcore because I didn't even think to look up if there was another channel called DK Media. And there is. Much more popular than me, who makes like trap beats or whatever. But it's like too late to change it now, so oh well, I guess I'm stuck with it. But really getting to this band, check them out. Simple enough. Well, I checked it out, and well, if this was instrumental, I think it would be much higher, because the dude just sounds like he's high as hell, rambling the whole time. It's just like the same monotone voice all throughout the entire album. Meanwhile, the instruments were actually kind of really kick-ass. So I'm telling you, no vocals, you bump this up probably to like at least in the top 12 or 13 or so. But yeah, man, vocals can really kill an album, especially if I really don't like them. Okay, and from Leonardo Cruz, he's gonna recommend me Kanye West. Yes, the college dropout. Yeah, he's the one who gave me the, I think it was the last place one. What was it called? Dark Twisted Fantasy? Or was it I don't know which one it was, but I hated it because I hate Kanye West. Just kidding, I learned the lesson. I would recommend Verspertine by Bjork. I wasn't into Bjork at first, but after watching Fantano, I have it a chance, and it has become a part of my life. She has such a beautiful voice. I would say this album is at the level of Metropolis 2, though not the same genre. It was my second choice last time. Hope it's better now. Well, you're not in last. You're definitely not in last this time around. But yeah, still, look, it was nice listening to. You know, it didn't irritate me, which is why, you know, it's above those ones that did. But kind of along the same lines as Egg, like all the songs kind of sounded the same to me. Like Frosty, I think was my favorite track, despite it just being bells. It's just not really my style, you know. I would not be opposed to hearing more of Bjork, but I don't know. Maybe I just have to be in the mood and know what to expect. You know, first time listen, it's like this is why albums always get better, I think, as you listen to them more. But yeah, if I give this another shot, it might go a little higher. But yeah, as for now, I mean, it was okay, you know, but just okay. Next up, we have Winter Killers by Devildriver. Another fun fact, I just posted a picture that I listened to my 1600th album. This was it. It was Winter Kills. And another fun fact, I actually saw this band live when they played with these boys the first time I ever saw them in 2013. And that's when this album came out. And I looked up the set list, and they actually played a couple songs off this album. So I've heard a couple of these songs about 9 years ago. And were they any better the second time around? Well, a little bit, I suppose. Yes, this was my first death metal album, and it really surprised me with how good it was. You know, I have the same issue with this album as I did with Catharsis by Machine Head, except this album is nowhere near that shit. That album is so fucking bad, dude. It's the single reason I don't want to listen to Machine Head all the way through, because I really don't want to hear that goddamn album again. But my biggest problem with that is that Rob Flynn never shut the hell up. And I feel the same way with this one. Like, it's very rare to go like 5 seconds without him screaming. Like, it's a metal band, man. Just let the riffs play out. Let there be solo sections. Don't just scream in the microphone the entire time, because it gets a little much. But yeah, same thing that always happens with these kinds of albums, where there's a lot of vocals. I just get really annoyed really quickly. Even most of the riffs don't really do it for me. It's a very okay metal album that really needs more riffing to it, and not only vocals. Alright, and up next we have Chuck by Sum 41 from MJ. Oh boy, here we go. Most people know Sum 41 as the silly early 2000s pop-punk band with hits such as In Too Deep and Fat Lip. And while very good songs, they are so much more than that, and this album really showcases a side I don't think the general public knows about them. Man, there's always... Every band I feel like has that album. You know? Like Rush, off the top of my head. You know, Tom Sawyer, goddamn Spear the Radio. Like, they have so many other stuff that people don't know about, and it's really annoying. But probably the same thing with this. The album's title is named after a volunteer UN peacekeeper named Chuck Plater, I don't know, who was in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where Sum 41 was filming a documentary for War Child China. War Child Canada, holy shit. Gunfighting broke out during its production, and Chuck helped the band and other civilians evacuate from the hotel they were all staying at, scared for their lives as they were hearing gunshots from the outside. I actually haven't read this yet. The album's lyrical content has been described as darker and much more mature than the band's previous work. It also had a different sound, mixing pop punk and melodic hardcore with heavy metal. The album was also mentioned with Metallica, Refused, and Maiden being main inspirations for the album's style. Wow. Kind of a hardcore backstory. Like, what was the band from the last one where they all died in the fire? That was crazy. Well, with all that being said, it's still not really my style. You know, I never really liked... I call it whiny rock because that's pretty much what it is. But yes, there were several really heavy riffs that pretty much, you know, made it this high up. Despite me not really liking most of it, The Bitter End was actually a really good song. Like, if I was gonna do, like, you know, top 10 songs from, like, everything, that might actually be in there because, yeah, Bitter End alone pretty much put it at whatever number this is. Okay, this next one comes from Grayson V. This was his third suggestion because, I'll tell you, at first he recommended Black Star by David Bowie. I didn't want to listen to it because I'm actually, today, later on, going to start listening to Bowie's career. And I didn't want to hear the last one before everything else. Then he recommended Quadrophenia by The Who, which I'm also... That's the next album I'm listening to by The Who, because I will be doing them next. And so third time's the charm with Manticore by Shovels and Rope. They are a band where I'm from. This album is absolutely phenomenal. Folk, pop, rock, all wrapped into one. I sure do hope you haven't heard it. I sure haven't. Yes. Third time's the charm. Okay. I liked Collateral Damage, Bleed Me, and really anything with a solid beat the whole time. Otherwise, it's kind of whatever. Like, the folky stuff is not really my thing either. The whole album, it kind of actually reminds me of the goddamn Family Guy skit with where Peter and Lois have like their hippie band or whatever, Handful of Peter. I don't know why, but I kept thinking of that this whole album. I will say, speaking of top 10 favorite songs off everything, No Man's Land was absolutely my favorite song on here. Really, really dug the way that sounded. I think also that alone really puts it above a lot of the other ones. It's a mood album. I can actually see myself revisiting this album if I'm feeling it, like if it's the right mood. But yeah, it's a very specific taste that I would have to be in to listen to this again. And from Diamonds 11, we have Mutations by Beck. I like it mainly due to nostalgia, though if I ignore that, it's just a chill and laid-back folk rock album, especially compared to the album he made before his Odelay, which is a good listen to. Beck is an alternative rock musician who started in the early 90s, if you're wondering. Yeah, it's kind of pretty whatever rock to me. Oh Maria was kind of cool because it sounded like... Because it sounds like it was written to be old phonograph rock. It just has that like specific style of like really old music. I thought that was cool. The hidden message track also got pretty fun. Just pretty much super middle of the road stuff. Which, you know, we're approaching the midpoint, are we? Oh my god, there's so much more. Holy shit. Oh, that's gonna be a long one. But yeah, kind of more radio rock, I'd call it. It's like radio rock. You throw it on, it's fun to listen to, but I don't know. As far as re-listening to it, not super into it. Next up, from Juan Pablo, we have Sonic Youth with Dirty. And I gotta be honest, I was really dreading listening to this. Because Sonic Youth has a really shitty song in Guitar Hero 3. Cool Thing, it was called. And I really hated that song. Thankfully, that song is not from this one. And also, thankfully, surprisingly, I didn't really hate it. You know, a couple standout songs. We have Swimsuit Issue was pretty fun because it sounded like Bleach era Nirvana. Teresa's Sound World, the clean riff and vocals were great, and then the noise build-ups on in between. Sugarcane was a well-written song. Like, most of it I didn't really like, but there were a good handful of songs that I would listen to again. So, definitely a step up. You know, we're getting higher up. Shit's getting better. It's more exciting, and yeah, not a bad album. And now from Darien Black Sky, it's Kmfdm with Angst. It's a very classical industrial album, and though I don't know your opinion on industrial music, I think you'll enjoy it. And look, here's my opinion on industrial music. It's really good, but it gets repetitive really quickly. Because a lot of songs, they're just like the same one or two riffs the whole time. But those one or two riffs are always really kick-ass. But yeah, this is the album I was listening to while I was setting up my bookshelves out in the living room. And, you know, as setting up furniture goes, you always get angry. And having some industrial music playing really, really helps. All the songs, they all just sounded, you know, very similar. Same riffs over and over again, but I like those riffs. And from Android 45, yo, I just pulled Android 17 and 18 in fucking Dokkan on the Gamma banners. Goddamn, finally someone good. But anyway, it is SBB with Pamiec. Yes, we have some Polska music. Pamiec means memory, remember, whatever. Remember good old prog rock. Remember, yes, because this album is quite literally just Polish close to the edge. That's all it was. Very few vocals and very proggy, jammy. You know, it ends with the long piece. It's close to the edge, but Polish. And, you know, close to the edge is a kick-ass album. And this is a pretty good kick-ass album, too. So, this album and the one above it have, like, the same exact story. Next up from Go 2001, we have, I don't know, not even gonna try, by Chico, Buarque. Just a great album by a great Brazilian artist. I agree. This, yeah, pretty good album. Not good. Horns in the title track. I think it was like pretty clean, and then these horns come out of nowhere, scared the shit out of me. I really do like the build up going throughout the entire song. I really like the title track. This song, love the smoothness to it. Very calm album for the most part. Honestly, I don't really have any complaints here. This goes for Pamiec too. I don't really have any complaints here. I just don't know how much I'd revisit it, but I enjoyed it fully. And we have another foreign album coming up here soon. This foreign music, man, is a lot better than a lot of American music, gotta say. Alright, now we have Correlations by Ashra from Joel L. He is a new subscriber and have not commented on any video yet. I like your album rankings of Iron Maiden and Rush. Oh, thank you. Yo, that Rush video, it's about to hit 6K. Woo! Get hyped. Want something obscure? In that case, my pick is Correlations by Ashra. Long story short, Ashra started out as a solo project by a German musician, Manuel, not I could try it. The first 2 albums are solo albums, but this album is the first one to feature 2 other musicians. Like the previous 2 albums, this one's completely instrumental. I think Correlations is a good introduction to all things that man. Also, the cover's designed by Storm. I don't know who that is. Am I supposed to know who that is? Storm Thorgerson. Ah, he did Dark Side of the Moon. Okay. Sick. Did Peter Gabriel, Scratch, Melt, Immersion, Pendulum. That's the album that I told you all to listen to last time. How many of you actually did? How many actually listened to that shit? Okay, so this guy did a lot of artworks. I actually don't remember what the album artwork looks like, but that's okay. But anyway, as far as the album goes, once again, no complaints, just solid instrumental music. Maybe gets a bit repetitive sometimes, but I think it's supposed to be more like vibing music. And then Bamboo Shards actually sounds a bit like some instrumental Pink Floyd, which I thought was cool. Yeah, this like spot on this list, just they're good, but just I wasn't crazy about them, but I did like them, so that's something.
Which way you go for?
And now we have Nick Drake with Pink Moon from Mr. Nick Scarpinato. Everyone wish Nick a happy birthday. Yay! We're both 27 now. What a fun time. This album's going to be very different from my last pick. One of my college professors would talk about how during his live shows, he would often take full minutes between songs to tune his guitar in weird ways, and so hopefully that gives you an idea of what to expect here. Recorded in just 2 days, the album is stripped of any and all backing band. It's just acoustic guitar and vocals, minus a couple little piano. Nick Drake tragically passed away at 26, 2 years after this album was released, but I personally think Pink Moon holds up well to this day. Look at any singer-songwriter influenced by Pink Floyd, and you'll find traces of this guy. Happy listening. Easily the most stripped, bare bones, basic album on this entire list. Very somber. Besides No, all the songs were pretty solid. I did not like No. That's the annoying one with the goofy riff the entire time and he's just humming. Didn't like that one. It was only like 28 minutes long. Really short and sweet. I think if it was any longer, I'd get sick of it. It was like the perfect length. This was a good one. I will say, this was a good one. I don't really have any standout tracks, but like I said, I liked all of them except that one. So, solid album by Nick Drake, 2 first names. Oh boy, and on to the other album I was very curious to listening to, because OK Computer, I see everywhere. I mean, people rave about this album like crazy. Like, actually, like one of the best albums ever recorded. So, what did I think? Well, first of all, from Metal Rabbits, this is the album that changed their sound for the best, where Pablo Honey was in many ways forgettable, and The Bends was a bigger step to a wider audience. OK Computer is the album that gained worldwide attention, a bit what Dark Side did for Pink Floyd, but Radiohead now. OK Computer is considered by many to be one of the best albums ever made, yes. For me, it's on par with Kid A, although I agree with people who say Kid A is better. Top 3 of my In Rainbows, Kid A, okay. It's more accessible than Kid A. Kid A takes a little more time to appreciate it, but in general, OK Computer has just about the most recognizable songs other than any Radiohead album, at least if you don't count Creep. This album is definitely worth a listen. I never really digged much into their music, but until I gave this album a full listen, I pretty much forgot how I saw and knew them first. Well, I'll tell you one thing. This album was about a million times better than Kid A. I did not really like Kid A at all. But this one, I did. I did like it. Exit music. I thought exit music was cool because it sounded kind of creepy, but it also kind of sounds like Muse, which we'll also get into later. Only song I hated was Fitter Happier because the goddamn text-to-speech. I swear to God, every song that does it, I throw right to the trash bin. There's that stupid-ass Satisfaction song that I think is actually one of the worst songs I ever heard. Stephen Hawking is not a vocalist. Stop doing the text-to-speech. It sounds like shit. But other than that, it was a pretty smooth ride-along. Yeah, significantly better than Kid A. Tell you what. And from Head of Bucket, Mr. Ric Flair himself, Dur and Grey with Uroboros. Found out about these guys from a Loudwire video and fell in love instantly. Their singer is on another level in terms of vocal range. They're Japanese, so you're not going to understand the lyrics. But from what I'm told, they're pretty unintelligible for native speakers too. Even the songs they sing in English, I can't understand. Anyways, crazy metal shit, good as fuck. Hopefully you dig it, so you get an excuse to listen to the rest of their shit. Look, I like the cleans mostly. Track 4, not even try again, sounded really good. The thing that I really don't like is all like the squealing and noises and shit. Yeah, like you said, vocalist is just kind of crazy, but other than that, everything was pretty good. Just it's a little like, I don't know. I don't like when he's like making those weird noises, going full on Jonathan Davis with the Freak on the Leash middle. I don't like that kind of shit. This one and the other album we listened to in the car, I don't remember what it was called. But yeah, not bad. Definitely not bad. I wouldn't be opposed to listening to these guys, but might just take a little while. But hey, sure as fuck a lot better than whatever the other one you gave me last time. I forgot what it was called, but definitely a lot better this time. Jeez. Oh shit, now we got Excitable Boy by Warren Zevon from Ignis, aka Alex, aka, wow, the fucking Callous Wing back to back. Here we go. 4 of the 9 songs on this album would go on to basically be permanent fixtures in his live sets. To me, he's sort of a Midwestern version of Elvis Costello. Great songwriting and a deal of variety among the songs, with a bit of that same witty cynicism as well. Yeah, I mean, we have Werewolves of London, which is actually like certifiably dad rock right there. I actually just had that song on like I have like a various playlist, which is basically like random songs. So essentially like The Drive, or yeah, I'm saying that like all you guys are from Chicago, like just classic rock songs. And I had Werewolves of London on there. So cool to hear the actual album. And not only that, but we have Nighttime in the Switching Yard, which was straight up just funk. That song was fucking kick-ass too. Yeah, very much like, because you recommended Elvis Costello last time. Same shit. Great storyteller. Very literally, along with solid music going on. I do think I like this one better than Elvis Costello. Mainly because there's like 2 really hardcore standout songs, which that one was mainly just 24% Amnesia. But actually, this guy, maybe because I'm listening to them, but he kind of reminds me of Roger Daltrey, pretty hardcore, the way he sounds sometimes. But yeah, Another pretty good ass album. But I'm sorry, you have not made it the highest among my friends this time around. Because up next we have The Hurdy Man by Donovan from my good old friend Haley. I brought an original copy from the 60s to a Donovan concert where I met him. He was really impressed that I had that and personally made that copy out to me. Just a really cool experience. Oh, you mean this one? There it is. Donovan, The Hurdy Man. There he is, signed by Donovan to Haley. Yeah, true story, huh? That's cool. But yeah, I believe this was the oldest album on here. Dating, was this from the 60s, I believe? Yeah, from 68. So this was the oldest album I had going through this. And so we have Entertaining of Shy Girl is like pretty much a campfire song. Goes right into like a shuffle song with As I Recall It. That's a fun transition. And then double whammy with Get Thy Bearings, which, you know, it has some upright bass going on and some saxophone. Great jazzy sound to it. River Song was kind of ominous. I really like the feel to it. You got quite the variety on here. Just like Warren's Zevon, just a really great listen all throughout. Solid ass material. Yeah, great songs, great variety, which is a great transition into our next album. From Tom Grossi, we have Hints, Allegations, and Things Left Unsaid by Collective Soul. And once again, we have a song that's certified dad rock with Shine. We're gonna, another album above this, actually directly above this, has the same story, where I swear, like, every track sounds like it was written by a different band, because we have Love Lifted Me, has a few cool power chords and constant movement. Reach sounds like Def Leppard, which is probably why I like it. Good Night, Good Guy, with that Limp Bizkit ass riff, but good this time. To that Freebird ass intro of Wasting Time. A love song that's just strings, to another Def Leppard ass sounding song, to a punk thrashy song, to a country twang. Just the variety on this album is crazy. I swear, like, the whole last half of this album is just going by like decades of different music styles. It's crazy. Now we're just in the really good territory. I think starting with the Excitable Boy, everything up here, just really goddamn good. I believe we're in the top 10 now. Yeah, we're on like 8 or some shit right now. But yeah, Collective Soul, not bad. Not bad. And next up, we have last time's winner, Jake H. This time with King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard with Omnium Gatherum. Alright, I don't know if this will top my last album. Clearly not. But if you've ever heard of this band, you have to hear this. They are one of my favorite bands to come out of the 2010s, and this is one of my favorite albums this year. They are super prolific. They've released 20 albums in the last 10 years, with 3 or more slated release next month, which I believe was this month at this point. Each album has its own concept genre. This one is a double album that explores pretty much everything they've done so far. From psychedelic rock, prog, synth pop, jazz, psychedelic, pop, doom metal, and even hip hop. If consistent albums are your thing, this may not be for you, but they've got an album for pretty much everyone. Even if you hate it, you should hear some of their other albums, and this one is probably their best gateway into their discography. Yeah, that's no lie. I mean, I did not like... There's 2 songs that were like the hip-hop ones with Sadie, Sorceress, and Grim Reaper. Gaia was probably my favorite for obvious reasons. But other tracks like Presumptuous and Persistence were pretty good too. Just the same exact story as Below, where every song sounds like a different band, and it was crazy. Yeah, bro, they have a lot of albums, a lot of shit. They put out like 5 albums this year alone, which is bananas. But yay, this was an album from this year, so we get to revisit this in January when we talk about all the 2022 albums. So maybe it'll even get better the second time I go through it. But this was the longest album, clocking in at 80 minutes. But it was a double album, so kind of happens that way. But yeah, man, really, really solid stuff. I am kind of terrified to listen to the rest of this band, though, because there is a lot. And they're very new, which is even more shocking. I mean, shit, they're like only a little over a decade old, and they already have more albums than fucking Rush did. So, pretty crazy. And next up, from Rain OC with Invisible, self-titled. Argentinian progressive rock band, just a classic. Now, I actually heard Invisible the last time because someone recommended me... I forgot what the album's called because it's foreign. El Yarden something, which I think was the last one. This band only has 3 albums. So, you know what? I think I'm just going to listen to the other one and do a video on them because 3 albums, fuck it. And 2 of them are really good because the other one made it very high up too. So we have, god damn it, Tema de Elmo Lesto is a straight jam. The bass slays in it. I don't think it's as tight sounding as the Al Yarden one, but I think it's definitely much better because that one just... the production was absolutely wild on there. But yeah, this one I think is just more fun musically because every track on it pretty much goes ham. So, yeah, Invisible. Consider me a fan. From Music Person, we have Muse, Origin of Symmetry. This is a great alternative album with tons of influence from prog rock and classical music. And you know, I've always, known about Muse. I even heard whatever album that has Nights of Sidonia on it, where they're like, the album artwork, they're like in a desert sitting at a table or some shit like that. I've heard that one. What was the other one? Uprising. I know that song because Guitar Hero, obviously. So yeah, I think they have a really cool style or a cool sound to them, and this album just showcases that. We have another collection of solid ass songs. I really like the heavier ones, of course, like Hyper Music. That was, I think, my favorite song. They're just like kind of on my bucket list at this point. Like I know I should listen to them because I liked damn near everything I've heard from them. So who knows? Maybe someday in the future you'll get your video anyway. I think there's a couple fucking bands on here that I'm probably going to listen to eventually anyway. So just because you're not in first place doesn't mean I'm not going to listen to the rest of the discography. Because we have another one coming up here that I'm going to do eventually anyway. And up next, from Mr. Josh, everyone's favorite guest on the show, we have Earthless Night Parade of 100 Demons. So far, my album of the year 2022. They are a trio of guys that almost went unnoticed by me for a long time until a friend on Xbox recommended me this album. Earthless is often classified as instrumental stoner rock. When I hear them, I hear influences of space rock, progressive rock, krautrock, and stoner rock. But to be honest, I can't categorize this band. I've never heard a band like this before. They are just so spacey and nuts. The guitar player is nuts. I really like his sound, and he just keeps going. It's insane. It's insane. The distortion and fuss on this album is awesome and really takes me for a ride. Well, I will say this. There's 3 tracks, each about 20 minutes long, so we got like an hour album. The first 2 tracks, aka 2/3 of this album, aka 40 minutes. Honestly, it's really repetitive and not a lot happens for a song that's 40 minutes long. The third track, however, Death to the Red Sun, I think this is where this album fucking slaps. Because it goes really hard the entire time. And for a 20-minute song, that's impressive. And it had the first two tracks been like this one, probably would have been number one. But as is, I think 4 is a really good spot for it. And congratulations, Josh. You are now the champion of my friends and people I know. You are the highest this time around. Yeah, bro. Just really, really good-ass instrumental music. And another album from this year, which we will again talk about in like a month and a half. Holy shit, this year is actually almost over. Damn. And our bronze medal goes to Scumbag Productions. I'd watch a movie by Scumbag Productions, definitely. With Arctic Monkeys, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not. Their debut album. And honestly, I was not expecting Arctic Monkeys to be this damn high. Because I heard another one of their albums, and like it was fine. But this one, holy shit. Solid ass songwriting. Everything sounds super fun to play. I would totally like play in a tribute band where they're playing this whole album in full. I would totally be down to learn it and jam the fuck out of this album. Pretty much every song has its own highlight, whether it's the bass line or a riff or a drum fill. Any drum fill that ends with the bell on the ride is fucking awesome. Vocal mixing is kind of annoying, but the performance itself is fine. Like, there's a couple times where the vocals sound a little distorted and don't really like that. But, like, it's a fun album. It's a really, really fun album that I am very much gonna be blasting occasionally. So before we have our top 2, I'm going to give you guys another album. Now, this album was actually given to me last Rank Your Albums. I'm sorry I don't remember who it was, but whoever gave me Billy Joel with The Stranger, I gotta say, out of all those albums, this one aged the best. I think this was only number 4. And had I done this today, this would be number 1. Because top to bottom, man, great songs, especially with, we have the title track, Scenes from Italian Restaurant, is so fucking good. Yeah, everyone listen to Billy Joel, The Stranger, because it's a really goddamn good album. I've heard it like 6 or 7 times at this point. Really great. But, yeah, let's move on to our runner-up. Our silver medal goes to Kabui with The Cars debut album. I bought this shit as soon as I heard it because I had no idea that half of this album I already knew. You know the playlist I told you guys about? Yeah. Good Times Roll, Just What I Needed, and You're All I've Got Tonight. All 3 of the songs are on there. And they're all on this album. We got like another Boston situation where the first album just has so many bangers on it that like it was just destined to be high as fuck. And it was number 1 for most of this listening to. So I'm sorry you got outdone, but don't worry because I will get to these guys eventually. I'm planning another Big 4 marathon, but it's not going to be until like June. So if you stick around that long, I will do The Cars at that point. But in my opinion, the most successful debut album by any group. Almost every single song. It's a lot more goddamn successful than piece of shit Appetite for Destruction. I'll tell you what. Almost every single song on this album had a fair amount of radio play. Very true. The songs are timeless. I guarantee you would be hearing these songs 50 plus years from now. 2 singers perform on the album, bassist Ben Orr and rhythm guitarist Rick Ocasek. Honestly, one of the best albums I've heard. Yeah, certifiable banger with this one. I think, what was it? My Best Friend's Girl was a single on this one, but You're All I've Got Tonight wasn't, and that song is a shitload better than that one. Honestly, I don't even know what to say. Like I just mentioned, half these songs I've been hearing all my life, and I had no idea they were all on the same album. Absolute incredible. Bye Bye Love, another fucking great song. There's only like a couple, like 2 or 3 that, you know, I don't like remember. But even those, I mean, they were solid ass songs. I honestly compare it to Boston's first album, where the first 5, all actual classic radio songs, but then the last 3 are kind of whatever. This is kind of the same thing, but it doesn't matter that the other songs are kind of whatever, because those other like 4 or 5 songs are so damn good, it just bypasses it. Okay, first of all, someone gave me 2112. Someone, I'm gonna find out right now. James Savick gave me 2112. Rush was a band that got me in trouble. Back in the mid to late 70s, my parents really didn't care what I listened to. We were far enough apart and my stereo was modest. Using headphones, my noise was never a nuisance. I think they actually liked some of my yes. The problem I had was when we had a rival preacher that was a real fire breather who preached about the devil, all of his works, and his cunning snares for youth. Of course, it was 2112 that caused our conflict. He used the album cover and its pentagram as an example of its demonic content. We fought over it, but what got me in trouble was for smarting off to the rival preacher who knew nothing about the album, but was completely focused on the cover. I found this to be a recurring theme with narrow-minded people. Of course, I replaced 2112 later and eventually had the pleasure of seeing Rush in concert 3 different times. I doubt the band ever had in mind the other kind of lessons you can learn from their music. Wow, only 3 times, huh? I've seen them twice, and only in the last couple of years. Why don't you go see them more, damn it? God, I wish I saw them more times. But simply put, I didn't include this album because I know every single note on this album. I've heard it like 100 times. So it wasn't really fair to stick an album I know so well amongst a bunch of albums I'm hearing for the first time. But, I mean, hey, you're in luck, because if you haven't seen it, I actually did Rush a couple years ago. It's actually my most successful video. So you can go right there and check out all my thoughts on Rush. And then the other one, we have Bolus Cream of Wheat, which, look, kid, I appreciate, your support and everything, but I'm just going to go out on the limb and assume that this is your band. I'm sorry, but I'm not listening to it. I asked if you had any other real suggestions, but there was none, so, yeah. I'm sorry, but I'm not. There's no way I was gonna listen to that. I heard a couple seconds from a couple songs, and I noped out. Same reason I didn't include the Miners on the last one, because another one of my friends gave me one of my albums, but I didn't include it because it's kind of goofy ass music. Same case with this. And if anyone else out there is like, oh man, well you should have included it anyway, you're free to go listen to it if you want. That's Bolus Cream of Wheat. Go on and check it out for yourself. And I'm probably going to assume you're going to see why I didn't include it or listen to it. That does lead us into our number 1 pick. And funny enough, this was actually the first album, that was just the first comment on that video, was this album. So we started with a bang. But I didn't hear it first because I was listening to them in chronological order for a while. Our gold medal winner of this edition of Rank Your Albums goes to Agalloch, something like that, with The Mantle from Pedro Belim, who gives no backstory on it, but congratulations, you have won. So you can expect that band ranking after the goddamn Who, because I need to do them. So they'll come after that. But I had straight chills the entire beginning of this album. In Shadow of Our Pale Companion, I think the decision to always have like acoustic guitar or clean guitar damn near the entire album was such a smart decision, because it gives such like a haunting atmosphere to the album. Although the growls did kind of take me out a bit, they don't fit, I think, at all. But besides that, I thought this album was fucking amazing. That's pretty much all I got to say on this one. Like I said, I don't have like that standout song, but God, every song on here was just really good. Gotta say, very, very impressed with this one. Damn good recommendation, and to a lot of you as well. I would say, I think that at least all my friends, everyone was higher than the first time around. And despite me really not liking those bottom couple with, what was it? Flowers of Romance and Egg, I gotta say, despite those, definitely better than the fucking Kanye albums I heard, or that other, I forgot, Death Grips, that's what it was. The Death Grips album, fuckload better than any of those albums. But yeah, good job this time around. Damn near everyone did better. So, yeah. Happy Halloween, by the way. Doesn't really look like Halloween in here, but whatever. We have Ghost. Spooky. But yeah, stay tuned. We have The Who coming out, ranking. Agalloch is up next. And then we're in December. And then it's almost the end of the year. Almost time for my 3rd anniversary again. So, yeah, bunch of stuff coming up. It's been kind of dead, but it's only because I've been traveling out of state a bunch. Shit. Been to Michigan and Tennessee. It was wild. But anyway, congratulations once again to Pedro. Look forward to your video very soon. And like I said, I'm going to listen to that other Invisible album. I'm going to listen to the Cars eventually. So you guys are going to get, more of you are going to get your album reviews. That's the end. Thank y'all for watching. The road to 700 subscribers. Here we go. Yeah, and definitely be on the lookout for a more variety of videos, because all those videos you guys suggested me, I have been working on a couple of those, so we're gonna have some more fun videos that aren't just fucking ranking albums. So stay tuned for those eventually. And yeah, I will see you all in a couple weeks with The Who.